Hello, welcome back to everyone that's tuned into the American Ultra Stock channel. Here we are today. Reaction to the roster that dropped. I'll just say it right now. A lot of the people that I talk to, all the groups that I'm in, I would say that the feeling right now is pretty negative amongst the fan base. A few ways that we could try to not sugarcoat it, but try to reason why the roster looks the way it looks. But straight to the point, Brandon. First thing, your initial thoughts when you saw that come out. What was the first thing on your mind? How did you react to it?
Yeah, well, I'm sure all of you by now have probably watched Tack and Pete's individual reactions to the roster, and I think it's fair to say neither of them were happy. Pete went on a little rant. I'm probably going to do the same thing here. I think, for starters, I think the one thing that's pretty evident based on this roster and just generally the news that has come out is that so many of our players don't care about the national team at all, and I don't think it's ever been more clear than it is now. Let's start with Captain America, the LeBron James of soccer, allegedly the most talented player that US has ever had, Christian Pulisic. He's supposed to be the poster boy of US soccer. They actually just advertised their new kit today, right when the roster came out. They posted a tweet with him wearing the new kit and they said add to cart. It was one of the most, honestly, one of the stupidest, I can't even think of the words for it, but one of the stupidest advertising campaigns I've ever seen from US soccer. I don't understand how they're this unaware of how the fan base is feeling towards Pulisic and the team right now. He, obviously, I mean, we've said all these things about him. There's so much praise for him. He's such a talented player, but he doesn't act like it at all. He doesn't even show up to work anymore. Apparently, he can't be bothered to. His entire argument for missing this camp, which is, by the way, the last chance we have at a major tournament or any sort of tournament, any extended period of time for our team to get together for the World Cup with, by the way, our national team in complete disarray after that huge disappointment in the Nations League in March. His excuse for missing out is because he wants to rest up after 2 long seasons of football in Europe with Milan and with the national team, of course, all of the little friendly camps that he's been getting called up to here and there. And he wants to be ready and fully fit for a good season next year. They didn't even mention the World Cup in Matt Crocker's statement. They mentioned he needs to be ready for a good season next year. I'm not an AC Milan fan. Most of the fan base isn't an AC Milan fan. We might be Christian Pulisic fans. We might watch them for him. We don't care how the team does. We care about how the national team does. Why would they say in their statement that they want him ready for next season, not for the World Cup in 2026? It's like they're not even hiding his true intentions here. And the fact that he himself is risking serious injury by taking injections to suffer through what he's currently going through and finish the season for one of the worst AC Milan teams in history, but not taking the same measures for his country, it just shows where his true priorities are, and they're not in the right place at all. It's really embarrassing. And they have a final game of the season, a completely meaningless one against Monza. If I see him playing in that, I'm going to lose my mind. Next up, Jedi Robinson. It's the same situation. He missed our camp in March due to this nagging injury that he's had. He then proceeded to play every single game for the rest of the season for Fulham, 90 minutes for all of them. And now he's missing another competition for the USMNT because of the same injury that could have just been resolved if he had sat out a couple games for his club. Just embarrassing. Again, priorities in the wrong place. Yunus Musa is not here due to personal reasons, which is the most vague excuse in the history of all excuses. Obviously, I think it goes without saying, if there's something serious going on with his family or something like that, it's understandable. I hope everything in his life is good. But it's basically been all but confirmed that the main reason he's not here is to figure out his club future, which is not an acceptable reason at all to be missing this important of a camp, especially for a player like Yunus Musa, who has been having a horrible season for, again, one of the worst AC Milan teams in our memory. He's been subbed off before halftime multiple times this season because of how bad he was. He consistently does nothing for club or for the national team. He's getting hidden on the wing so his mistakes don't cost the USMNT. Who do you think you are, Musa? Based on the season that you've had for your club and country, you shouldn't even be getting a call-up in the first place. You'd be lucky to have that honor. So who do you think you are to decline this opportunity and say, no, I need to go sort out my future at the club level? I wouldn't be mad if we don't see him again until after the World Cup at least. But that's all I wanted to say about some of these embarrassing players who just clearly don't understand what it means to represent this crest, this badge, the country, the flag, anything.
I will say I'm very disappointed at the players. I mean, this is our region's competition. Yeah, the Nations League sort of like means more, but historically this is it. So you see players in the African Cup of Nations, they leave their clubs, big clubs, in the middle of their seasons. Mane, Salah, guys that play the Asian Cup as well, Son, Minamino, they leave their clubs. We're playing higher stakes than any of our players are playing at the moment, truth be told. And they leave it, and that's their priority. Now, it wouldn't even conflict with their calendar, and they're taking time off. I mean, Musa, like you said, if it's something with his family, understandable. But at that point, just say it is something with your family. I think everyone will be a lot more understandable if they're not left in the gray area. But that's how much it means. It matters really to them. There's no real reason to clarify. And again, I'll go back to the root of the culture around the fan base as well that always sugarcoats it, so I don't feel like they feel the pressure. So it's okay if I miss this out. It's okay. No one's really gonna criticize. And I'll also say my critics also go to the Federation, Poch. We had the hopes that this guy would have an iron fist and, he's going to be a different guy. He's not going to take anything, different culture. Well, look at how things are going. It seems like it goes into the direction that the players want. It feels more like a hobby for him, a little nice thing until a job pops around after the World Cup. So I'm really disappointed with everyone involved, the players, but I think he's to blame as well. Federation as well. What is this? What's the player power here? What have they won that warrants them this much power where they can just steer things the way they want to go? And it's absolutely unbelievable. Would Dempsey ever do that if he was Pulisic? No, he wouldn't prioritize the club season. And I just don't see it. Let's move on right here to the next topic. The goalkeepers that were selected, as we know. Do you think that you would have called anyone else? I mean, Matt Freese getting the call up, Patrick Schulte, Zach Steffen, and Matt Turner. Add them all up, we're going to get like a half-decent goalkeeper. Anyways, thoughts on the goalkeepers? I feel like for these ones, you couldn't really go wrong or couldn't go right. We're just very, very barely average.
Yeah, I just want to quickly reiterate what you said about Poch. He said a lot of the right things to the media. He said he doesn't want players in camp to only be here to golf, to eat dinner with their friends, and stuff like that. He said that we needed changes to the roster after the disappointment in March, and to his credit, he has made a lot of changes to the roster, although some of them clearly were not his decision. He's saying all these things, but he himself is not doing his job. He's failing to even talk to Nathaniel Brown, who would immediately come in and be one of the best players in our national team, and way better than the left-back options you're going to hear us talk about in a minute. He's failing to call up Paxton Aronson, who was borderline team of the season in the Eredivisie, dragged Utrecht to Europe almost single-handedly, and he's letting MLS put their fingerprints all over this team in places that they shouldn't be. We'll talk about some of those later. And he's doing all this by, instead of doing his job, he's going on vacations to classical music performances in Spain. He's coaching YouTubers and streamers in a charity match instead of talking to real footballers, not content creators. It's ridiculous. And coincidentally, both of the players that I mentioned will be playing at the same club next season. So watch, go to Germany and talk to them. Watch them. Do your job, please. But talking about the goalkeepers, there's not much to mention. And we're going to do a whole video later this summer about the goalkeeper situation, so I'll get through this quickly. The only thing to mention here is that one of these four is probably going to be cut because it's a 27-man roster. Only 26 can actually make the Gold Cup. This is technically a training camp team, not the official Gold Cup roster. The cut's probably going to be Matt Freese. Unfortunate due to the season he's having, but it is what it is. He's never gotten a serious look under Poch. Only other thing worth mentioning, and I said this in the roster prediction video, is that Matt Turner's spot, according to Poch, as number one, is up for grabs. That means hopefully we will see one of these guys get a chance to actually start games this summer. Real games, not just perform in training, start one of the friendlies, start some of the Gold Cup games. Probably going to be Stefan, if anybody, but that's all I have to say, really.
At that point, just whoever picks the short straw gets cut. And whoever picks the longer one gets to start. Who really cares? These guys are very similar level, I'd say. But we're gonna move on right here to the fullbacks. I know that I really like the fullbacks that you picked on the preview, and here we have got Arston. Just honestly, I'll just let you take this one. Do you think that it was? What do you think about his choices? It's nice to see Freeman get a look in, like you said. He's a name to come up with, and it's nice to see guys that have potential get a look like that. But then you look at Dylan Jones, really, Max Arston. What is this? I really don't know what to make of it. I know what to make of it. It's really bad, but I want to hear your thoughts on them as well.
Yeah, well, let's first start with praising the good because admittedly in the roster there's not a lot of good, and I think it's important to point out when there is something that has been done right. Both of the right backs, great picks. Obviously, we know Serginho Dest, he picks himself. It's going to be great to see him under Poch for the first time since he came back from his long-term injury. Hopefully he can do well because he's one of the best players in this camp. He'd be one of the best players in this camp even if the entire player pool was available. Alex Freeman, like you said, one of the biggest highlights of this roster for me as a very young player. He's 20 years old, 21. He's arguably been the best right back in MLS this season, despite it being only his first real season with Orlando City. He has great potential to be a very solid player in Europe. Very excited to see what he can do in his first chance with the national team. Notable omission here, of course, Joe Scally has to be mentioned. He was one of the A-teamers that Poch decided to drop after, of course, the abysmal performance in March. He said in the press conference, actually, that he wants the fullbacks, and specifically the right backs, I guess, to be more attacking-minded profiles. We know Dest is that. Alex Freeman is the same situation. Scally, of course, we know has been playing more as a third center back than a true right back or a wing back under Poch, so that's probably why he's not here. And I think it's good to get Freeman a look, and of course Dest as well needs some minutes under his tank since he hasn't played a lot this season. Left backs, like you said, very bad. Jedi Robinson, of course, I already mentioned how much of an embarrassment it is that he's not here. Nathaniel Brown obviously should be recruited, but that is what it is. There's nothing we can do to change that, really. But even if you take both of them out of the equation, there's two left backs here that should be called up over both of the guys that are here that just, I don't even think one of them is on radar, honestly. If you look at who is called up, Arston, he got his chance in Nations League. He was very bad. He shouldn't be here. DeJuan Jones is an MLS lifer who hasn't really ever in his career been good enough to make the USMNT. We have John Tolkien, who just had a very solid half season in the Bundesliga. Even though his team got relegated, he showed he is more than capable of playing at that level. He should, in my mind, be here as the starter if we're not going to have Jedi. And then Caleb Wiley recovered from a pretty unfortunate first half of the season by going on loan to Watford, and again had a pretty solid performance there in the championship. I don't even know if he's on Poch's radar at this point. To be honest, he clearly prefers Arston over him for some reason. In my mind, it's pretty simple. The message that Poch is sending to his players, and not just the fullbacks, the whole roster, is that they should be staying in MLS instead of challenging themselves in Europe. Because clearly, you're more likely to get a call-up to the USMNT if you stay in MLS. That message is horrible for the development of the national team and for the development of soccer in the US.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's absolutely shocking to me that you would call these guys, if they were like in a Freeman situation where they're just breaking through, they're young, they have the potential, but come on, Arston already got his chance. Horrible. Dylan Jones, won't even waste my breath talking about him. I mean, props to the guy for getting the call-ups. It's not his fault that he's getting them, but come on. I would much rather see Tolkien and Caleb Wiley so we can have someone step up to be the next, not be the next, but be a reliable option after Jedi. I don't think any of these two guys are going to do that. Center backs, we have Mackenzie, Tim Rain, who always finds a way in. He's probably part of his staff or something. Chris Richards and Miles Robinson. Miles Robinson again, 2025. Miles Robinson, MLS Live. Aaron Long should have been here then. If that's what we're calling up. It's crazy to me. Thoughts on the center backs that we decided to take?
Yeah, well, again, starting with the good, Chris Richards and Mark McKenzie being here is obviously good. It's great that both of them decided to not take the summer off because without them, I don't even know who we'd be calling up because the options are next to zero. If you look at the players who are on the preliminary roster that aren't here, you have Zimmerman and George Campbell, who both are still injured currently. CCB just came back from injury, and him and Austin Trusty have both been dropped because of their underwhelming performances both for the national team and because they play in a bad league, which honestly, in my opinion, is the right message to send to both of them. So I'm a fan of that decision. Max Dietz was there. He has just flat out been bad for Greuther Fürth, who have been struggling in the second division of Germany. He doesn't deserve a call-up. The only one left besides Tim Ream and Miles Robinson, who were the ones to ultimately get the call, is Tristan Blackman. I think he should have been called up, but ultimately it's a third or fourth center back. None of these guys are very good. It's not worth wasting our breath about this. Let's just move on.
Yeah, it's just sad, really, but at least I'm okay with who's going to start. I'm presuming it'll be Mackenzie and Chris Richards as well. So at least I'm happy with that. And now moving on right here to the midfielders, I'm going to say all of them. And we have Brendan Harrison making a comeback onto the roster. Tyler Adams, which I'm really happy to see that he's going to be involved. He could have arguably taken the same route as McKennie, as Pulisic. Oh, he's such an integral part. He played a lot of minutes for a guy that just came back from an injury, but he's around. Sebastian Berhalter. We have a Berhalter back with the USMNT. Crazy. Johnny Cardozo, who I think has a great opportunity this summer to be a starter. Luca De La Torre somehow is here. Diego Luna, happy to see him here. Jack McGlynn made the roster as well. You have him in the background. Quinn Sullivan as well. We have a Philly heavy roster here. And then Malik Tillman, obviously, and Sean Zawadzki. Anyways, thoughts on the midfielders? Some new faces around. Overall, are you happy with it? Who do you think are the standouts? I think we know Tyler and Johnny will likely start, but thoughts on the midfielder?
Well, first, let me just give a salute to Tyler Adams because he has had multiple long-term injuries over the past 2 years. He's finally come back, played a full season at a very high level, the highest league in the world for Bournemouth, and helped them overachieve, I think, everyone's expectations this season. If anyone in this pool had an argument to deserve some rest this summer, I would argue it would be Tyler Adams. But nope, he's there representing his country like he always does. I think it gets a little bit overlooked that he played through injury multiple times last season because he cares about the national team. In the Nations League, remember when he scored that screamer against Mexico? He wasn't even playing for his club. I think medically a lot of doctors were saying and would have said he should not have been in that camp. He should not have been playing. He wasn't fully fit. In Copa America even, he probably should not have been playing. He was not fully fit. But because it was a big tournament, one of the biggest that we've played in, he showed up. He doesn't make excuses because he is the real Captain America of this national team. Not Christian Pulisic, not old Tim Ream, 37-year-old, not any of them. They don't have it like Tyler Adams has. We need more players like him in terms of mentality and in terms of ability because if even due to a few technical flaws he has, he's still one of the best players we have. So salute to him. Thank you, Tyler Adams. We don't deserve you. Alongside him at the CDM position, Johnny Cardoso. I think this is a huge opportunity for him. He clearly has lots of talent, as we see, with Real Betis, but it hasn't translated to the national team yet. This is a big opportunity for him to take the starting job and run with it. I will say this, if Poch can unlock Johnny's full ability this summer, I think automatically that is a huge success, and it would be huge, honestly, for the national team going forward. Having a fully talented Johnny in the national team would be a huge upgrade over a lot of other players for the World Cup. So a big potential opportunity there. Sean Zawadzki is the other CDM here. I think the only reason he's here, honestly, is to potentially play as a backup center back. That's what he's been doing a lot of this season with Columbus Crew. He's a utility guy. And I think if you look at the roster configuration, we are all set up to play a three-back. If you look at the fullbacks, all of them really are wingbacks. I mean, obviously we know Dest, Freeman, Arston, Jones. They're all more attacking-minded than defensive. I think it's going to be either a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-2-1 with the fullbacks acting as the wide players. And obviously, as you see in the midfield, there's not a lot of true wingers here. Not any, I would argue. So I think they're going to be playing more as 10s. The width will come from the fullbacks, meaning Zawadzki has to slot in as a backup center back, because if you're playing 3 center backs, we only have 4 on the roster. You need more than 1 backup center back if you're playing as a 3-back. So I think that's the only reason he's here. Again, probably doesn't deserve the call-up, but it is what it is. If you look at the 8s, it's obviously a catastrophe. I mentioned the lack of Paxton Aronson, which is just mind-blowing to me. The players that are here, Jack McGlynn, you see his jersey behind me. He's a specialist. He's here for one thing, and that is his left foot. He can obviously deliver incredible passes, long-range shots. That's the reason he's here. I'm not mad at that. He's a young player performing in MLS. Sebastian Berhalter, probably the best midfielder in MLS this season, at least one of them, probably the best American. He actually deserves his spot. I'm not mad that he's here, and he knows, as having a dad who represented the national team, what it means to wear the crest. So I think at the very least we'll see passion from him, and that's something that comes few and far between in this pool of players. So I'm okay having him here. The other one, Luca de la Torre, you said he doesn't deserve it. It's pretty clear. Moving on to the attacking midfielders, very excited to see Malik Tillman. Same things that I said about Johnny. Huge opportunity for him to finally capture his form for the national team. Diego Luna, we know what he can do. Excited to see him have more of a key role without Pulisic and Weah here, and of course Reyna as well. Brendan Aronson, there's a lot of criticism of him, but again, he will bring passion. That's one thing that you absolutely know he'll bring. He'll bring effort. A lot of players, they can't say the same. Quinn Sullivan's the other one. You see his brother's jersey behind me, actually, Kevin. Hopefully the future of the national team. But Quinn, another young guy like Alex Freeman, like Jack McGlynn, who's having an excellent season in MLS. He deserves this call-up. I'm happy for him, of course, as a Union fan. But in general, I think the consensus is he deserves this opportunity. I'm excited to see what he can do. I think that's everyone. Ultimately, the attacking midfielders, great. The rest of it, yeah.
It is what it is. Honestly, I'm not too mad at the midfielders. I'm okay with giving a look to some younger guys here. I'm just a little shocked that with some of the omissions, some guys that we could have called. Like, for example, I know I haven't watched as much, but I would have called in Ali, perhaps ahead of Zawadzki. I just think that he did well when he got a chance. But moving on right here to the forwards, we have Patrick Adjemang making his way into the roster somehow again. Brian White, at this point, Brian White must be a great guy to hang around with because he keeps getting called up. We have Balogun. Nice to see him around again. Another guy who could have maybe taken the summer off. I don't know, because he needs to sort out his club situation as well, arguably. I would say that it's not out of the picture that he would need to get a move. Damian Downs, really happy to see him around. And Haji Wright, Mr. Clutch for the national team. Are you happy with these forwards? And the quote that Sargent was left out due to footballing reasons, I'll be honest, I'm completely fine with it. I said that I would call him up, but I'm completely fine. I don't think that we would really miss Josh Sargent. What was he going to do? Miss some goals here and just go scoreless again? I'm completely fine with it. I'll give Brian White a look. At this point, why not?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Again, starting with the good here, obviously Fuller and Balogun is going to be the undisputed starter here. Props again to him for taking this opportunity with the national team as a chance to get some minutes back into his legs after recovering from injury and not getting a lot of minutes with Monaco. As you said, he probably needs a move this summer because I don't know if he has much of a future there, but he's going to be the undisputed number one for us without Ricardo Pepi. Obviously, he is actually injured, unlike some of these other players who are saying they are. Damian Downs as well is a huge positive for me. I think him, Freeman, Sullivan, those are the biggest positives in this roster for me. He had a 15-goal contribution season with Cologne to help them win the Zweite Bundesliga and get promoted back to the top flight in Germany. Very excited to see what he can do in his first U.S. call-up. Haji Wright, we know he's a good call-up. As always, he performs for the USMNT. It's a rare thing amongst our players, so always welcome to have him, another player who can play as a wide player, even though I think we're probably not going to play with true wingers. Maybe he can play, him and Downs actually both can play maybe as a second striker, potentially behind Balogun as a true out-and-out 9. Then you have Brian White, of course. I don't think he's the best player necessarily, but you have to give credit where it's due. He's having a great season for the Whitecaps. Him, Berhalter, and Tristan Blackman, the 3 Americans in the spine of the team, are the reason why they're so good. They're in the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. Hopefully they win it. He deserves the call-up based on his form. He probably won't get many minutes. I don't think he should get many minutes, but he at least deserves to be here based on form. Unlike Patrick Adjamong, who has 3 goals in 13 MLS appearances this season, just like his Charlotte teammate Tim Ream, who's also here. Neither of them have been good in MLS this season, and 5 strikers as well, especially if we're going to play with 1 striker up top. Way too many. Even if we're playing with 2, you should have cut one of them, given the spot to Brian Gutierrez as another attacking midfielder, or Paxton Aronson, someone like that who can help the team more than Adjamong can. In regards to Sargent, I'm in the same mindset as you. He got dropped by Poch. He's had good form for Norwich. No one can deny that, but he hasn't scored for the national team in 5.5 years. He's had 16 caps since his last goal. He's had his chance. Time to give someone else a look.
Yeah, thank you so much, Braden, for walking us through these players because, again, I always say it, and it's not just because you're my friend and we have a channel together. Your knowledge of our roster is insane, really, keeping up, because I feel like a lot of people are leaving their commitment with the USMNT. I don't see as many people caring as before, and I think that's the saddest thing out of Poch's legacy so far. So hopefully these players can help turn it around. I think it's crucial that we have a good summer, but I'm curious to see what you guys that stuck around in the video think about the roster. I've seen a little bit of everything, so just comment down below the guys that you think should have been here. What do you think about the guys that won't be here and their reasons? And we'll make sure to try to respond to as many as possible. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back. We're back on the group to record and upload regularly. We'll see you guys next time.